Hey guys, what is up? Chris here with Cohesive Friendship Unit. Just me today. I think it's about time to do a Nintendo Direct prediction video. Number of reasons why I'm choosing to do it now. The first being that usually when there are SKUs put up at big box retailers, that means a Direct is nearby, and as many as 12 new SKUs have been added, so that's kind of an indicator. Also, just looking at the last 2 years of historic data, our last Direct we had was on the 13th of February, like relative to this timeline and the part of the year, and that was in 2019. In 2018, we had the mini Direct on the 11th of January, so it could be creeping up pretty soon. It could be in a little over a month, but if it is, I'll probably make another video with a more refined take and expecting bigger things out of it. But there's a few more reasons why I think we're getting a Direct soon. One, the Smash DLC Fighter Pack 1 is set to be complete in the month of February, so we do need at least a character reveal, presumably before February, but maybe not. Maybe they're just going to launch them, drop them, everything done at the same time. Kind of doubt it, but it's possible. So yeah, I think they would like a little bit of build up. I really thought we were going to see this character at the Game Awards. And the other reason I'm making this video now is because when Nintendo announces a Direct, it's usually within like 36 hours-ish of the Direct actually happening. And that's not always enough time to come up with some great prediction videos. So here is the Nintendo Direct early 2020 pre-show. Before we get into everything, we are doing a giveaway for a copy of Risk of Rain 2 on your platform of choice. All you have to do is be subscribed to the channel. Check out our community tab if you want to know more, but if you love us, sub us, and throw us a like. Let us know down below what you think will be announced at the Nintendo Direct coming up. Alright, so I do want to refer back to those historic Directs, the February 13th, 2019 and the January 11th, 2018 Directs, to kind of draw from how I'm going to be making my predictions. The mini Direct, again, I'm not going to highlight every single game, but I am just going to hit the highlights. The mini Direct, the big third-party announcement would be Dark Souls. There were some Wii U ports like Hyrule Warriors. We also got a Mario Tennis trailer, as well as some Mario Odyssey DLC, specifically the Luigi Balloon Challenge thing. On the February 13th, 2019 Direct, we did actually get a decent bit bigger in terms of announcements. We got Mario Maker 2, Dragon Quest XI getting a more formal Switch unveiling, Astral Chain, Daemon X Machina, Tetris 99, and Link's Awakening. All pretty big heavy hitters. So here's how I'm going to approach this Direct. I'm not going to give it the February clout unless we get into February without a Direct, and then maybe like I said, I'll make a new video. I am going to kind of put my expectations in between these two, and I do want to kind of look at a few patterns between the two Directs. There was no holiday game announced or shown or anything during either of these Directs. We didn't get Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 trailer during this. We didn't get a Smash Brothers Ultimate unveiling during this. We didn't get a Pokemon unveil during either of these Directs. So I'm assuming we're not going to see the big holiday game of 2020 during this Direct. That being said, especially looking at the February Direct, but even looking at the mini Direct where we got Mario Tennis, I will be looking at games that Nintendo has usually released up through around September, so right before the holidays. All that's fair game. Big games, not insignificant by any imagination. I mean, Link's Awakening is a huge deal, but that's kind of what I'm looking at. So basically, here's what I think is going to happen, and I'll go into the details. I think we're going to get a Smash Brothers final DLC announcement before they keep making more DLC. I think we're going to get some Wii U/Wii ports, much like we did with Hyrule Warriors, for example. I think we're going to get some third-party updates, maybe some new third-party announcements. I think we have a decent chance of seeing Animal Crossing, and I do want to talk about some new titles that could be released. Let's start right back at the top with Smash Brothers. that is, in my mind, almost a guarantee. We basically need to get a Smash DLC announcement because the last character is coming out rather imminently, and we don't know who that character is. Obviously, at this point, predicting what the character is almost impossible with the likes of Terry Bogard, but I expect it to be one of the biggest reveals. I think following up Terry Bogard should be a big fan want, kind of like Banjo, like in that caliber. This is just my thought. I have no idea what the character is going to be, though. After Smash, and I do want to kind of tie the Smash DLC very loosely to the Mario Odyssey DLC that we got in the January mini direct in 2018. Next, I want to talk about some Wii U / Wii ports. Again, the mini direct had some of these, as well as other. There have been other announcements of ports early in the year from other directs. I think we are kind of down to the wire on Wii U ports. There's not a whole lot left, but Zelda port would be interesting. I don't think we'll see a Zelda port, but if we do see a Zelda port for maybe the Wind Waker HD, what I think that tells us is we would not be seeing Breath of the Wild 2 this year, because they like to keep Zelda annualized now. I think if they show their hand and say, hey, this is the Zelda you're getting this year, don't expect Breath of the Wild 2 in 2020. The next will be the Metroid Prime trilogy. I think there's a decent chance they announce that and release it sometime in the summer as a big game, a little HD reboot, mostly because that has just been rumored to death. And if Prime is coming out in 2021, like I suspect, they are going to want a buffer period to get the trilogy out and get people excited, kind of like what they did with Wind Waker HD and then Twilight Princess HD, followed by Breath of the Wild itself. The timeline would just line up, keep Metroid kind of in the people's minds for when that big trailer does eventually drop. And you want to get the trilogy out and clear some air before they start the marketing train up on the actual fourth game. And the last one would be a Pikmin 3 port. I think that and maybe Wonderful 101 are kind of the last games that really need to come over from the Wii U. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I think at this point, if they were just kind of saving that one for when they were out of ports, I think now is kind of the time. But that's it for the ports. I think now we should move on to the third-party updates, of which I think there are kind of three notable ones. The first, and I think honestly probably the most likely, would be the Outer Worlds. They announced that a good while ago. They didn't have a definitive release date, and it's now come out, has a reception. I think now would be a good time for them to give a release window, maybe summer 2020, anything. I just think it would be a good time because now they have review scores, they have accolades. I'm sure they are kind of all whatever team's working on it is dedicated to the Switch port at this point. It would make sense to me. I think it's been the right amount of time to get an update on the Outer Worlds. Next would be Bayonetta 3. I mean, we hear that game is right on schedule, I guess, or doing well in development. And I think we were worried about it originally, but seeing things like Astral Chain come out shows that maybe resources were just distributed a little bit differently and things are on schedule. Just the release cadence was not what we expected. So yeah, we got Astral Chain last year. Maybe this is finally the year for Bayonetta 3. And the last would be No More Heroes. This one's interesting because we did just see No More Heroes at the Game Awards. They did slot a 2020 release window on it, so it might be a little early, but nonetheless, it is possible that maybe it's coming out in the spring. And yeah, they just want to keep the pedal to the metal on the marketing and the visibility of this game. And now I want to move on to new third-party games that I think might be coming out, of which, again, third-party games are super hard to predict in that it could literally be any game that has ever come out. I do just want to say we were pretty shocked, I guess, to see that The Witcher finally did make it. Not only did it make it, it was a pretty solid port with everything being on the cart. The only other thing I want to note, and we made a video on this, is that Nintendo might be getting those 64 gigabyte Switch carts this year, which could do a number of things. One, it will make 64 gigabyte carts available, so there is a chance that we get those bigger ports, and maybe that is something that the Outer Worlds was looking for, even though that install size isn't very big, so maybe less likely for the Outer Worlds. But the other thing, which could again relate to the Outer Worlds, is getting this availability of the 64 cards might make the 32 gigabyte cards cheaper. It's possible, I'm not sure, but if that's the case, then yeah, we might be seeing more physical third-party releases or fewer of those download-only third parties. Again, it's very hard to speculate on third-party games, and I haven't heard anything that sounds too... I mean, there was just recently a Red Dead Redemption 2 rumor. I do not see that happening at all, but I guess I'll say it. Now I want to move on to Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing, I think there's a pretty decent chance that we see it. One, because like I said earlier, Nintendo likes to show off games coming out in the spring and summer during this period of the year's directs. And this would kind of be the time to give Animal Crossing your last hurrah. This could be the last chance we actually see Animal Crossing, just looking at how directs have lined up for Nintendo. Usually the next one's around April-ish. So this could be the last time. The alternative would be we get something like a mini direct this time, and Animal Crossing gets its own dedicated direct or their own mini direct shortly before launch. And the last thing I want to talk about is the new summer-ish game, the new game that we could be seeing coming in late spring, midsummer, late summer. Usually that kind of thing's announced. We got Mario Maker 2 on the February Direct. We got Astral Chain, Daemon X Machina, kind of got a re-blowout, and Link's Awakening was announced. So what could that game be? And again, this is kind of hard. I kind of have three guesses. The first is that it could be any of the ports listed above that I said, like the Zelda Wind Waker HD port, the Prime Trilogy, or Pikmin 3. That is possible that is a big game. Like Xenoblade Remake is kind of being treated as a pretty big release. So they could go the extra mile on one of these titles and make it worth the while, kind of like what they did with Link's Awakening. Going back on that Link's Awakening theme, it wouldn't surprise me if we get another Game Boy remake. Switch has, and even the 3DS, there's been a trend where Nintendo's been remaking Game Boy games. With Samus Returns on the 3DS, and on the Switch we had Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and again, Link's Awakening, which was announced at a similar timed direct to come out at a similar time of the year. So it is possible that Nintendo digs deep into their Game Boy catalog and comes up with some kind of remake, and that would be nice. Game Boy games, I think, benefit pretty strongly from a full-blown remake, personally, in my opinion. That being said, Link's Awakening seems like it was made to kind of come out with the Switch Lite, and that they came out on the same day. The Switch Lite is a portable, and Link's Awakening is it's a portable Zelda. And there's no Switch Lite this year, at least that we know of. So I think there might be a chance that we don't get a Game Boy remake, or that's the argument against it for hearing about one. And last but not least, I think there's a decent chance we get a Pikmin 4 announcement. That seems like the kind of game that Nintendo would push out sometime in the mid to late summer timeline, and now would be the perfect time to announce it and get everyone excited. And that is it for my predictions, guys. Let me know what you guys think. If anything happens that's significant, obviously we will be making more content about it. That is all for me, and I will catch you next time.